What have you done?
Okay, so right, we're here.
We are finally here.
The Batman spoiler talk discussion, whatever this evolves into, I guess. I saw it. I've seen the film twice now. Got to see it a few
We
days
went to
ago.
see the midnight launch together.
Yeah, that was my first day midnight launch as well, actually, for any film at all.
Yeah, but it was good though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great. But I made a pact to say I'm not letting this man see this film before me because he saw both Avengers Infinity War and Endgame before me. So this and Spider-Man No Way Home we both saw together, which is a good experience. So yeah, it's cool.
Because every time I see the Avengers before them, I'm always like going the following day with you guys, and I'm always like looking at your reaction, waiting for like the big moments just to see your reaction for the first time.
So does Iron Man die, right? And he's like,
I know, that was like...
By the way, yeah, sorry for spoiling an Endgame for you, but the film's been up 2 years, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
get a life if you haven't seen it. Even my sister has. So the Batman, of course, directed by Matt Reeves, starring Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Colin Farrell, John Turturro, Jeffrey Wright, and Paul Dano. Andy Serkis as Alfred as well.
Remembered all the names. Yeah.
I'm getting better. I think it's made about 500 million so far in the box office, or it's on track to.
Oh, it's over there now so far now. It was like 400 the other day, but now it's jumped up to 500 now.
Yes, I think it's gonna on track to. I mean, who knows whether it will make $1 billion? I
reckon it'll definitely make over 700 million.
Yes.
That, I reckon.
But I think because they are planning to release it on HBO Max on the April 19th, I believe. Because they had a thing where they used to, so obviously last year we had a lot of films like DC ones, like James Gunn's Suicide Squad was released the same day on cinemas and HBO Max.
Didn't you say that the Snyder Cut was released a year ago today?
Yes, the day we're filming.
Yes,
March
a year
well.
anniversary for the Snyder Cut, guys.
Yeah, which is obviously, some people want to say that you can't like both these movies if you can't be a Matt Reeves fan and a Zack Snyder fan, but I'm a fan of both. But so I think this film, because they're releasing it later on, I think there's like a plan where 45 days exclusively in cinemas and then it's released later on, but who knows. But I think it's going to definitely make it tomorrow. It's already definitely made a big profit, so we're on track for definitely a sequel soon. But soon. So overall thoughts, like I said, fan of both. Of course, Matt Reeves, I really love this movie. I think this is the first film where we really see the most accurate Batman in terms of his crusade. The no killing rule is a big thing here. There's we see a lot of moments here when he refuses to kill. Even as moments when, of course, he saves Falcone from Selina, not obviously just to save him, but more to save her, which is a great scene. And as well as we've got a bit more sort of on eye gadgets, better fight scenes in a lot of the Batmans, in my opinion, especially sort of the Dark Knight trilogy. I always feel like the fight scenes in those films, the hand-to-hand ones at least, were like the bit that was quite weak in those films. Like the vehicle chases were great, some of the chase scene in the Dark Knight when he gets at the Batpod, that's all great, but the actual hand-to-hand stuff wasn't a fan. So this movie definitely proves on that, but also is more sort of realistic and gritty at the same time.
Kind of gives you like Arkham vibes, like the games, those type of fight moves.
It does, yeah. I'd say probably Arkham Origins the most, with it being the early Batman, but what I like about it too is he still actually gets hit a lot. I feel like he gets hits, and it's because he's still learning.
He's still a man. He's not invincible.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, that's my opinion, but I don't know. What do you like the fight scenes better, or do you prefer?
I thought the fight scenes are definitely different between past Batman films. Like it does feel more realistic as well.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure if he did the choreography. What is it? The choreography? Yeah. I'm trying to think who did it. I found the name the other day, but I just can't remember the name. But I think they did a good job though with the fighting. Yeah. And but the most thing I'm really happy with is the cinematography in this film, by Craig Fraser.
Craig Fraser, yeah, beautiful shots here. Not just obviously we've got the iconic upside down shot of him with the Batmobile, one of the best shots there. But just in general, just like close ups of stuff, and like what I love too about how they frame Gotham here is more like you see you're there in it, this nitty gritty city. There's a bunch of POV shots. There's got great shots of him, like Bruce on the bike when he's driving through the city, and then you got that great shot of him grappling up through the building. I think Matt Reeves explained recently in a video that he wanted the audience to sort of look down on him there because it's kind of showing like he's not as experienced yet, and he's trying to escape, and he's making mistakes. And there is, I think, you want to critique it a tiny bit like that. The scene where he escapes on the wingsuit. There's one shot where the camera sort of sticks in his head. It looks a bit obviously CGI. It looks a little bit. I'd say that's a little bit goofy.
Because it's a stunt double who's doing that part of the the scene.
But also,
wasn't
I guess
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, but also I guess because everything else up until that point had been a lot more realistic and practical. So this is the first time there's like there's like a CGI being used. So it kind of throws off a
with the
little bit.
landing as well, like, cause that you could tell.
You could tell, but I also really liked it because, like, again, he's going to make mistakes, and it reminded me a bit of Mask of the Phantasm when he's escaping from the police and he gets like his whole mask taken off and he nearly gets caught. I don't know if like they wanted to reflect that a little bit, but that's a pretty cool scene there. But like, so that's probably the only thing I would say. Visual-wise, the movie was really great. Everyone sort of had this great sort of, framing, and there's even so many like horror elements, like the opening scene of the mayor.
Oh God, yeah.
And add that we knew like oh shit.
We were like hitting each other because like how like hyped we were.
We were like, getting so hyped because like the opening shot with the TV light and you see the Riddler there. It's like, oh my God, and the lack of music. It's like a horror. It's like a slasher kind of thing, you know. But
because he just appears out of nowhere. Because like the guy's like there watching TV, then he moves, and then he's right there behind him in the dark. Like, oh my God, is he like another Batman or something?
Yeah, it's absolutely great. Love it.
So that's probably where he took some inspiration as well.
Yeah, because there's inspiration from like Seven, I think he said. There's also some inspiration for Riddler himself through like the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah, I would say a bit of Jigsaw in there as well. From the Saw films with the traps, like the
bomb around his neck.
Yeah,
that reminded me of some Saw shit there. With like the code he's got to put in. I thought he was going to say there's like a key in his stomach or something he's got to open up.
Oh God!
Imagine like Batman has to like cut his stomach open or something.
Gets the Batarang out of his chest.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. But which he does use actually, which I thought was pretty cool.
I know, yeah, that was actually interesting. I didn't know that was kind of cool. That like he just takes it out use it as like a little knife and then puts it back on his chest. I kind of like that.
I mean, I wish he actually threw them. I wish he had actual batarangs that he threw at people because
that's true. You didn't see that in this film. There's batarangs.
Well, that's what I liked about the warehouse fight in Batman v Superman. We actually saw him take out a batarang and throw it at somebody. We had never seen that in live action film before. I think Keaton had a couple of like sort of remote control things and bits and pieces, but that was the first time it was actually like a proper batarang that you would see. That you would like throw it in like the Arkham games.
Which that will also link into like other predictions as well, because we saw the syringe and people. I thought it was like, wait, is this Titan? Like reference to Bane?
Yeah, a lot of people said that maybe, but I mean, it could be just be adrenaline, or it could be hinting at Bane.
Maybe,
because I do think that if Matt Reeves is going to utilize Bane, he will have him have some sort of venom. I think that that's an element of sci-fi that isn't too ridiculous, and but also not to the point where he's going to like grow massively in tubes around him. He's going to have like this big thing that he like. It's like a steroid basically. So that will work for how it's different. It means like the contact lenses thing.
Contact lenses, yeah, but it's really like cool. To us, it's just like the night vision you see in like the Arkham games.
Yeah. But
in this one, it's just the camera recording, but like using it as eyes.
Yeah, I thought it was cool to have like a detective mode thing he has there, which I think he wears in pretty much all the time. And I thought it was cool how he sort of, not only does he use them to sort of go over crime scenes, he also does it to sort of like, you see him looking at that thug that he beats up in the opening with the electric sort of just sort of like a psychological thing of remembering why he's doing all this. Like he forces himself to remember what he's done the night and fuel him. So that was a really cool idea. But that's what I mean about, I like how it's more sort of like fantastical gadgets than Nolan's version. It feels like Batman still, but it's also realistic at the same time. And I think that Matt Reeves was able to get the balance right here that I don't think Nolan quite did, in my opinion. I think that Nolan knew how to have some cool tech, but it was more like sort of like James Bond or military rather than Batman stuff. Like only he could have this technology because of his genius and his resources. Do you think that could evolve to like maybe some sort of like that could evolve like
it could like get built into his suit at some point?
Yeah.
So like it could probably like be built in his cowl for the next one.
Yeah.
But like you said, like this is like an early Batman, so like there is like a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah.
So like I reckon in time the suit will change, his cowl will change, and like he'll obviously have new gadgets as well. And you never know, he might have the Batarangs. Yeah,
that'd be cool. He started using those. That'd be really cool. I feel like it'd be because the metal like thing on his symbol is like a prototype thing, so he could eventually have that. But
I reckon he's gone to Australia to train the Batarang way.
Throw
a Batarang and it comes back. That's where he goes when he goes. When he travels around the world. He visits Australia and he learns.
He learns about boomerangs.
The boomerang.
Jai Courtney is there to say good
day. Good day, mate. I'll teach you how to do the boomerang. Years later, he used the boomerang.
Because he played Captain Boomerang in both Suicide Squad films. So anyway, so ranking wise, so with this film, so already it was right off the gate better than, of course, so it's better than obviously the Adam West 66 Batman film, even that movie is iconic. I'd say obviously better than Joel Schumacher's Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. I think it's better than 89 and 92, the Tim Burton movies. I like it better than The Dark Knight Rises. I like it better than Batman Begins. I won't compare it to... You may think differently, but I don't compare the films to Ben Affleck's ones purely because he's an ensemble. No, not because he's can't be compared. More because they're not solo movies. Batman v Superman was a Superman-Batman team-up. Justice League was a Justice League movie. So I don't think that you can really... I mean, I'm sure people will do that because it's a movie with Batman in. But but it's more of an ensemble. It's like comparing Iron Man to Avengers kind of thing. So I won't compare it to that. But I would say... But I overall, I still think Ben Affleck is my favourite Batman of all time. But I would say maybe, his movies might be generally better. I don't know. But in terms of The Dark Knight, where do you rank that?
Dark Knight, because The Dark Knight, as you know, is one of my top favorite films of all time. Yeah. And look, with this film right now, I got the same vibes when watching The Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan's one. So I really did like the new one. And if I were to see it one more time, I might have my final verdict, if I prefer The Dark Knight to Matt Reeves, the Batman. But I think it's always going to be The Dark Knight for me. I still love that film, and this new Batman is still great.
Yeah, I mean, I personally enjoyed this film more because I think it's more of an accurate representation of his character. But I guess, and could an argument be made for this movie being objectively better story-wise? I think so, but I think probably The Dark Knight is still better just as a movie as a whole. But I think for me personally, I enjoyed it more. I mean, I got more hype for this film because I saw The Dark Knight recently as well, about a few months ago again, and I still really loved it. But after sort of watching the two, and especially after seeing the film this new film twice, I think
6 hours. Oh
yeah, it's worth it. I think. I think I would prefer this film personally. I'm not saying it's objectively better, but I enjoyed this film more than The Dark Knight trilogy.
Can I just say one thing though before we move on to the next topic? His makeup though, Colin Farrell's.
Yeah, it's really good. You really don't recognise him at all, do you?
I know. Really when great. I first saw the image, I was like, "That's not Colin Farrell."
Yeah.
But that's crazy though.
Remember, Jeffrey Wright said he didn't recognise him at first. When
I've heard that story. He's just standing there, and Colin Farrell just say, "You okay?" Yeah, and then Jeffrey was just like, "Yeah," and he walks over to Matt Reeves, saying, "Who's that guy?" And he says, "That's Colin." He was like, "What?"
Yeah.
So he goes over and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't recognise you." It was like,
wow, that's great.
Have you not heard that story though?
I knew they didn't recognise me. I didn't realise he asked Matt Reeves who that was.
Because he thought he looked dodgy though, because with all the makeup with the scars, he's thinking, "Who the heck's this guy? Is this an extra or something?"
That's fantastic.
But that was Colin Farrell. But I kind of like that though.
Yeah.
At least he got some reactions.
Yeah, because you really don't recognise him. I mean, but one thing to add to that, in Arkham City, they explained how with a monocle is sort of pressed onto his eye.
It's like a bottle, in it.
It's lodged onto his eye as a monocle, and I think he uses a monocle briefly here. Do you think in the series, because there's a thing where if you play the Victor Zsasz side mission, he explains that happened as an accident, meaning that maybe Victor Zsasz did that to him. I would like to see in the spin-off series he gets that monocle stuck to his face as an accident thing, and that's part of his signature
that was
look.
Mainly in the Arkham games though, wasn't in the comics when it...
No, but I think that'd be a really cool addition to sort of show part of his signature look and a more comic booky thing. I think that'd be really cool if it's lodged into his eye and he can't take it out. Because it'd be like a sort of Breaking Bad style thing where he is sort of linking up with all the other criminal elements and he messes with the wrong people, because I feel like right now he is powerful and everything, but he still has a lot to learn in terms of becoming the boss of everything. So that would be a really cool way to sort of evolve him a little bit, I think. But Andy Serkis as Alfred,
he was barely in it. I didn't think he was I know he's one of the most important characters, but to me, I didn't thought he was that much important.
No.
I know he was important to Bruce because he's his only in a way his family that he has.
Yeah, well, I think that they've probably done that for a purpose to kind of show he doesn't really have much of a Bruce Wayne presence in his life right now. He's not embracing that side of his life more. So it's those great scenes, like that scene in the hospital when he's explaining about how his father happened. Because I mean, the great twist here, which is what shakes Bruce to his core, like Matt Reeves said, is of course what happened. His father orchestrated a hit on the reporter, and of course he revealed. I think the whole Falcone connection, did Maroni kill his parents or did Falcone? I think it's kind of left to you to decide as the audience. It's a bit ambiguous there.
Yeah.
But I like the idea that
and probably linked to another villain, which we'll get into in a bit.
Yeah. But I think it kind of sets the idea that there are shades of grey in Gotham, and even good people can do bad things. And I like that twist there to kind of have Bruce, shift his perspective a little bit. And of course, with Alfred, again, one of the things here that Alfred almost died in hospital. I think, oh my god, they're going to kill. We were watching and thinking, are they going to kill him off? Because he finds that letter.
Even though with that big the bomb, that's
a good thing to kind of show. Did Riddler know who he was or not? Because the
fireproof
letter, but either he knows that Bruce isn't there and he'd survive it, and he just
But the Batman thing was like in a fireproof wallet.
Yeah, so that kind of leans more to he didn't know who he is, because why would he try and kill Bruce Wayne but also leave a note for Batman if he knew that Bruce Wayne was Batman? So I think at that point people should have picked it up that he doesn't know who he is, because why would he leave a note for the Batman and try to kill Bruce Wayne at the same time if he knew they were the same person? So that was a cool thing there. But that scene when they're talking in hospital and he realizes that he does care about Alfred and he has that fear of losing someone he cares about for the first time since his parents. I got pretty emotional. That was a really great scene. And he grabbed his hand, and yeah, that was great. But that's the last time that you see him outside of the cowl. That scene with Alfred there. He's only in costume from then on in the whole film. I don't know if you noticed that, but that's a cool little thing there.
Because he's mainly because they found out that it's 80% of him in the suit throughout the film,
which is cool. But in terms of other characters, like I said, so Alfred not in much. With Selina. Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman. How would you rank her compared to the other actresses who played her before?
I actually really like her Catwoman because, in past Catwomans, she is like a jewel thief, and that's what that's all the main thing you know about her. But in this Catwoman, though, she has a past. She has motives, which makes you curious about this character because
Falcone connection as well, which you said
exactly.
About,
and I like that though because I never read the comics, so I didn't know about that.
No,
but I just liked how her motives like stealing jewelries and stuff, which we know for a Catwoman. She actually has personal.
Yeah, and it's connected to the case too, because the more you find out about that, the more you realise this is kind of. She's one of the victims of what Riddler is trying to revenge in his own way too. They're all victims and orphans of Gotham's sort of corrupt and wealthy, which I thought was cool. She does have the whip, which we see because you asked me before. She does have the whip where she lowers herself down onto the sort of the floor to get the safe, and then she has that cool moment where she takes down a couple of penguins guys to steal the money. But it's more like a prototype sort of Catwoman suit. She's got the ski mask with the small ears, but I think she's going to get a more proper sort of suit soon, I think. But question for you: would you prefer to have her? Because we see at the end of the film she leaves Gotham. Would you prefer to have her have her own spin-off film, or series, and then not be in the second film, but come back in the third Batman film because they are planning to do a trilogy, or just have her be in the second and third film and that's it?
Well, that's a good question because, like you said, she leaves Gotham, but we find out that she's probably heading to Bloodhaven, which is another familiar location in the back.
Right there. But obviously Dick is probably not even just an orphan yet, so we need to wait until that comes.
Well, HBO did announce with the success of this, they greenlit the Penguin series, and they said they got multiple projects, so they could make a series for Selina Kyle, her building up as Catwoman, and
more villain role. She has
probably, but I think I agree with you. She should come back not for the second film, but for the third film.
Yeah,
but as a more she's more involved into the Catwoman we know.
Yeah, because I think that it's kind of the same thing with for anyone who's seen No Way Home and the ending of that when MJ forgets Peter. I don't want MJ to remember Peter in the very next film, and I also don't want Selina to come back in the very next film too, because it undermines. It kind of just undermines the ending and the impact. I feel like you need to sort of appreciate Selina's absence in the next film and not being there for Batman, not being there to help him. Could even lead to him having another ally, you never know. But to really feel that absence of her and that he misses her, and then have her come back in the third film. And obviously, if the series is happening at the same time, you could have the Batman sequel and the Catwoman series be released in the same year, so you still get Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman, but not in the sequel. So, and then in the third film, she's like the Catwoman that we know with the goggles, the more sort of leather suit with the ears, the full whip, everything. No, and that would be a cool sort of genesis.
I was just gonna say, if she does come back in the third film, I feel like the first interaction that Batman has with her is not Batman, but Bruce. Yes. So he goes to one of those fancy ball dress thing, and then here's Selina Kyle all glamoured up and beautiful. That's when Bruce be like, oh my god, she's back. With the trailers we've seen the film, it made it out that the Riddler knew Batman's true identity. Yeah. But I like that twist there at the end when he's like in the room and he's like repeatedly saying Bruce Wayne's name, just trying to like edge Batman on, but really he wasn't. He was like literally, he hated Bruce Wayne, and he didn't realize that he was in the same room with him. He was like, because he saw Batman as like the protector of Gotham. Like he was actually praised him for this film. Like he didn't want him dead, but he wanted him to discover his riddles and like know his full plan, to know the full picture why he's doing what he's doing, which is just literally. Well, I'm trying to find my words here now, but like literally sort out all the corruption in Gotham with all the politicians.
Yeah, and find about the rat and the connection that Falcone has everyone working for him, and the rooting all that out as well, which is cool. And I like that the arc of Riddler kind of wins in a way, but he also doesn't. Like he gets what he wants physically with the flooding of Gotham, but Batman is able to offer this beacon of hope there and save everyone when he wanted chaos and everyone just to be killed. So the idea of him being able to be this kind of candle in the dark, and that's another scene when I got emotional, because he sort of, in that moment after he beats up the criminals and he realizes, like, because that guy says, "I'm vengeance," the Riddler thug, which is what he says at the beginning of the film, famously from ever since the teaser trailer, which of course makes him realize that he can't just be vengeance, he has to be something better than that. So when he makes the choice to sort of, grapple up to that power thing, cut the ropes, make sure that the save those people get electrocuted, and then he brings the flare out, gets everyone out, and he saves the kid, and he saves the mayor.
I thought I was a bit emotional with that as well. And then at the end, when you see him on the roof and he's helping this woman to get on this helipad, and he's like, the woman's like scared not to let him go. Please don't leave me. I'm like, oh my, because that's something you never see with Batman. You never see him surrounded with people.
The Arkham series now it used to be GCPD, now it's Arkham with Jeffrey Wright leading it. Mentioned, of course, that Barry Keoghan's Joker, who was introduced in this film, could be explored there rather than the film, so it's not as repetitive as what we've seen before.
Yeah, I kind of like that though. Rather than having the Joker like focused in like one of the the main film, just have him as like a side thing in the series, which I reckon would work.
Be interesting. And then we could also have ones like Victor Zsasz, Hugo Strange, villains that sort of aren't much of a threat to Batman physically, but are to Gordon, to lower the stakes and make it more psychological. And they could even do like a Hannibal Lecter sort of Silence of the Lambs route, where Gordon has his own investigation and goes to different psychopaths to sort of get into their heads. Like maybe Victor Zsasz is out killing people, and Gordon has to get information from Calendar Man to find out about it. Like how Jodie Foster has to go from to get information about Buffalo Bill through Hannibal Lecter, like and Anthony Hopkins.
Because Jeffrey Wright, James Gordon could be working with Harleen Quinzel, who eventually would become Harley Quinn.
Yes. And considering that Margot Robbie is so popular as Harley Quinn now, they would have to keep her strictly as the Doctor for now.
Well, they could just have her in there, but they could never evolve her into Harley Quinn. They could just have her as the Doctor instead.
Well, it'd be the same thing for a lot of other characters like Dick Grayson. If they introduced Dick Grayson in the sequels, I think he would be Robin towards the very end, so you wouldn't rush it. But also because there's rumours, of course, of the DCU they want to have Nightwing eventually. So this separate universe here could just stick to him being Robin for now. But third film, I think Great Villain would be Court of Owls. I don't know if would you like to see that? I don't know if that'll be something that would intrigue you.
Court of Owls would be very, very, very good film. Sorry, I lose my words, but I'd love to see that in we've seen it in the Gotham TV series, but to see it in the film, I feel like it's going to be more amazing. Just have the Court of Owls in there.
That'd be great, yeah. But
and having the fight in that as well, that's going to be something really.
Because it's not too fantastical. There are talons who are undead zombies, but it's more like martial arts, like ninjas. So it wouldn't be too crazy sci-fi. It wouldn't be Batfleck fighting parademons. It'd be more like aliens. It'd be more sort of a little bit more grounded. So I think
but cool. It's still going to be crazy. Though.
But there's also the mystery element too of who this court is, and the big reveal that they've been around since the beginning of Gotham's first construction, and have those great scenes of him in the labyrinth. He could even do more horror elements because just like with Riddler here, the labyrinth when he's trapped in that's a scary ass part. So having that part there when he's losing his mind and stuff, would be really cool. Jesus, because I was more on board with him back in the first place. People just don't want Rob Pattinson because of Twilight, like you said. Yeah. So, but no, he's proven to be a great Bruce Wayne here. I can't wait to see more of his journey continue.
Same.
And like I said, if we get all the Batmans at the same time, it'd be interesting to see the contrast of like an early Batman who's just figuring out himself out versus the veteran version and the contrast there. So that'd be really cool.
I think I'm gonna go see it again with the family.
Yeah,
soon. But like, I'm looking forward to seeing it again because it is such really good film.
You definitely notice more and more nuances as you go along and pick up things, and especially when you're not sort of watching it at 12 a.m. and trying to stay awake after a full day as well.
I know.
You know what I mean?